welcome. Today, we're diving into the story of a man named Jack, a man who had everything people chase in life, but inside, he felt empty. He wasn't rich, famous, or a social media star. Yet his journey teaches a truth most of us ignore: happiness isn't out there, it's already inside you. If you've ever felt stressed, lost, or like something is missing, listen closely. By the end, you may finally understand what real peace and happiness really feel like, and you'll practice English while doing it. He is not a celebrity, not famous, and he doesn't own luxury cars or have millions of followers, yet his story is more powerful than many success stories you hear every day. Jack carried something most people are afraid to admit: an invisible, silent sadness. It was the kind no one could see, the kind that made no noise, but slowly took away his joy. This is not only Jack's story, it might be yours too. So listen carefully, because within these words, you may discover something about your own happiness. And if you want to understand such stories not only with emotion but also through clear, strong English, you are in the right place. Here, we grow your mind and your English together. I had become like a phone that shows a full battery but has no signal. My body was working, but my soul felt lost. That night, for the first time in many years, I sat quietly and did something unusual. I didn't open my phone, I didn't escape into a screen, I just sat and listened to the silence. And the silence spoke clearly. It told me a truth I had been avoiding: Jack, you are not really living, you are only surviving. I didn't cry or shout, and I didn't share a quote online. I made one simple promise to myself: to find out what happiness truly means for me, not what people say, not what movies show. That night became the beginning of a quiet but powerful journey, not toward more success, but toward peace, clarity, and real happiness. For a long time, I believed happiness comes later, when life is easier, when problems end, when success arrives. Since childhood, we are taught a rule: first struggle, then succeed, then be happy. So happiness becomes a reward, not a way of living. We learn to postpone it. Finish your studies first, then enjoy. Work hard now, happiness will come later. Slowly, later becomes a habit. I kept fixing my life, step by step: after graduation, after a job, after promotion, after more money. But life never stopped and said, now you can be happy. One problem ended, another began. I realized my mind was always in the future, planning and worrying, treating happiness like a destination that kept moving. This belief is dangerous because it makes the present moment feel never enough. Even when life is fine, you feel restless. Even after success, you feel empty. Not because success is useless, but because you never allow yourself to feel complete. The real problem is not technology or modern life, it is how we measure life, like a checklist. And as long as one box is empty, we tell ourselves we don't deserve happiness yet. The pressure was inside my mind, a quiet voice always saying, you should be more. You should do better. You should be further ahead. That voice never rested, and slowly, I stopped resting too. One evening after work, I asked myself an honest question: what am I really waiting for? I had food, shelter, health, and time, so why was I delaying happiness? That was the moment I saw the truth clearly. I was using the future as an excuse to avoid the present. I kept telling myself, I'll live later, because living now felt uncertain and uncomfortable. The biggest lie is not that happiness comes from money or success, the biggest lie is believing that you must earn the right to be happy. That belief turns life into a never-ending test where you are always proving yourself and never arriving. Happiness is not a reward for perfection or achievement. It begins when you stop postponing your life and allow this moment to matter too. Understanding this did not fix everything overnight. I still had responsibilities, fears, and questions, but something inside me shifted. I stopped seeing happiness as a future prize and started seeing it as a way of living. As long as you believe happiness will come after, you will always be chasing, and chasing never brings peace. One quiet morning changed everything. It was 6 a.m., and I woke up early by accident. The sky was dark blue, the apartment was silent, and the city had not yet begun. There were no alarms, no emails, no noise, only the soft sound of the heater and my breathing. For the first time in a long while, I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't rush or check for attention. I simply sat by the window. Nothing special happened, yet for the first time in years, I felt something I had been missing. Peace came to me, not the loud kind that makes you jump or celebrate, not excitement or motivation, but a soft and deep stillness in my chest. It felt as if my thoughts had finally sat down after running non-stop for years. I quietly asked myself, is this what I've been missing all along? In that moment, I understood something important. Most of my pain did not come from people, my job, or my failures. It came from the way I thought. I was replaying old conversations, imagining problems that never happened, judging myself, and worrying about what others thought of me. I wasn't tired of life, I was tired of my own mind. Even when I rested, my thoughts kept attacking me, telling me I wasn't enough. That morning, in complete silence, those voices disappeared and the quiet felt like freedom. In that stillness, I learned a powerful truth: when the mind stops running, happiness doesn't need to be created, it returns on its own. I was never broken, I was just buried under layers of overthinking, fear, guilt, and the need to prove myself. I had been fighting everything: time, people, reality, and myself, and that constant battle left me exhausted. When I stopped fighting, peace appeared naturally. I realized no success, money, relationship, or perfect life can fix a chaotic mind. The real struggle is inside, not outside. So I changed one simple thing. Every morning, I gave myself 10 minutes of silence: no phone, no noise, no pressure. At first it felt uncomfortable, but soon my mind softened. That's when I truly understood, happiness is not something you chase. It's something you uncover when the noise fades away. That morning, I didn't add anything new to my life. I simply removed the noise, and happiness returned, not like a visitor, but like a place I belonged to. I realized that when the mind is tired, the soul feels heavy, even if life looks good. When thoughts never slow down, you never feel safe, even when you are. That day, I learned the first real secret of happiness: happiness is not a goal to chase, it is the silence that remains when the noise finally stops. After that peaceful morning, I asked myself a deeper question. If this peace was always inside me, why did I lose it every day? Why did happiness disappear as soon as the world became loud again? The answer was painful but clear: I was not protecting my peace. It sounds strange, but most people are not truly ready for happiness. We are trained to struggle, to hustle, to survive, but not to be at peace with ourselves. So when peace appears, it feels unfamiliar and uncomfortable, and we destroy it without realizing it. I didn't have obvious addictions, but I was addicted to overthinking, guilt, comparison, control, and anxiety. Anxiety made me feel busy, like I was working on my life, when I was actually stealing peace from my future. I grew up believing that if you are not struggling, you are doing something wrong. So when life became calm, I felt lazy, weak, and afraid. Happiness started to feel like failure. When everything went quiet, I didn't feel peace at first, I felt fear. Silence forces you to hear your own voice, and most people are scared of what they might hear. That's why we stay busy, not because life requires it, but because silence reflects who we really are. Some of us haven't looked in the mirror for years. One day, I finally paused and realized something shocking. I had built a world that protected my pain instead of healing it. I had surrounded myself with distractions, stayed in environments that kept me busy, and kept people around me who never asked the real questions. I avoided rest because rest brought reflection. I avoided slowing down because slowing down forced me to face the truth. I didn't know who I was without stress. I didn't know how to live without constant worry. I didn't know how to feel happiness without first earning it. And here's the thing, it wasn't my phone, social media, the news, or even money that made me unhappy. Those were just tools. The real problem was deeper. I had trained my mind to believe that I was only safe when I was uncomfortable. Comfort felt dangerous. Peace felt suspicious. Joy felt like a trap. So even when life was calm, I found something to worry about. And I did this every single day without realizing it. Let me give you an example. One day, work ended early. I had no responsibilities. The sky was bright and beautiful. I was healthy. I had everything I needed to simply enjoy the moment. And yet, what did I do? I started thinking, I should be doing something productive. This peace won't last. Why do I even deserve to feel good right now? In an instant, I turned a perfect day into a source of guilt and self-doubt. Later, I spoke to a therapist, and she explained something profound. The human brain doesn't naturally return to what feels good, it returns to what feels familiar. If stress feels familiar, your mind will go back to stress. If overthinking feels familiar, your mind will return there. If self-doubt feels familiar, it will dominate your thoughts again. It's not your fault that your mind works this way, but it is your responsibility to train it differently, because no one else can heal your mind for you. I wasn't trying to ruin my life. I wasn't trying to sabotage my own happiness. I was only trying to be responsible. I was only trying to stay ahead. I was only trying to prepare for the worst. But in doing all of that, I had already lost something far more valuable, the ability to enjoy being alive. My life was full on paper, but empty in experience. Every moment of peace became a question mark, every calm moment felt suspicious, and happiness felt dangerous because it was unfamiliar. I realized that my problem wasn't external. It wasn't my job, my schedule, or my responsibilities. The problem was how I had trained my mind, how I had built my inner world to fear comfort, peace, and joy. And that realization, painful as it was, became the first step toward reclaiming my life. No amount of external success could fix what I was feeling, not because success is bad, but because I never allowed myself to feel good while moving forward. One day, I made a very small decision, not a dramatic one. I decided that when peace comes, I will not push it away. I will let myself feel it, even if it lasts only a moment. Even if my mind tells me I don't deserve it. That small decision saved me from drowning in my own thoughts. Happiness doesn't feel difficult because it is impossible, it feels difficult because we are taught that it must be earned. We are told that chasing happiness is childish, that we should be strong, not soft, and that peace makes us weak. But the truth is the opposite. Peace is the highest form of strength, because only a strong person can remain calm in a loud, demanding world. If you truly want happiness, you must change how your mind sees peace. You must stop rejecting it, stop overthinking it, and stop judging it. You must sit with it, welcome it, and allow it to stay. Most importantly, you must stop building a life that only works in survival mode, because you deserve more than just surviving, you deserve to live. There comes a moment in every person's life when the truth hits so deeply that it feels like lightning inside the heart. It is not loud, and it does not break anything outside, but inside it burns away everything that is false. That moment came to me on an ordinary Tuesday evening. Nothing dramatic happened. No one left me, no one shouted, and there was no big event. I was simply sitting on my bed, staring at the wall, when the truth became clear. I realized that no one is responsible for my happiness except me. For years, I had been waiting for something without saying it out loud. Deep inside, I believed that maybe love would make me whole, maybe my dream job would make me proud, or maybe an easier life would finally give me peace. Without realizing it, I had made happiness someone else's responsibility. I was waiting for the world to give me peace, but that was never the world's job. Honestly, I wanted someone to see my pain and say, "Jack, I understand you. Let me fix this for you." But no one can do that. Even if someone gives you love, attention, or comfort, you will reject it if you don't feel worthy inside. If you don't love yourself, you will question their love. If you don't accept yourself, you will never believe you deserve peace. For a long time, I blamed life. I said it was unfair, that people didn't understand me, that society, pressure, and stress were the problem. But the deeper I looked, the clearer it became. It wasn't life. It was me. I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't caring for my inner world. I wasn't setting boundaries, and I wasn't speaking kindly to myself. I was neglecting my soul while blaming the world for the emptiness I felt. No amount of praise, success, or love can heal someone who is disconnected from themselves. I had to stop blaming my past, my parents, my ex, my boss, the economy, God, time, luck, people, or the system. I had to stop asking, "Why won't someone help me?" and start asking, "Jack, why won't you help yourself?" For years, I told myself stories, "I'm not ready. I need to suffer more first. I don't deserve peace yet. Maybe next year things will be different." But I didn't see that I was the one keeping the door closed. I was the one postponing my own healing. That realization broke me. It felt like grief because I had to mourn the version of myself that kept waiting. But once I let that version go, something opened inside me. That night, I said something to myself that changed everything: I am no longer waiting. I am no longer blaming. I am no longer outsourcing my joy. From now on, I take responsibility for my peace. And I meant it not in a motivational quote way, but deep in my bones, because I was tired. Tired of pretending, tired of blaming, tired of giving away the power to feel alive. Taking responsibility doesn't mean life becomes easier. It means you stop running from your truth. You stop waiting for others to understand. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop trying to be someone you're not. At first, it's painful because you can no longer play the victim. But it is also powerful, because you finally get your freedom back. Most people misunderstand this. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself, forcing positivity, ignoring your pain, or saying I'm fine when you're not. It means this: my happiness is my project. My peace is my home, and no one else can live there but me. It means becoming the guardian of your own mind. Instead of asking, why don't I feel happy? I asked, what am I still blaming the world for that I should start healing in myself? This is where real change begins. Healing doesn't happen by changing others, it happens when you change your relationship with yourself. The moment I stopped blaming, I felt lighter. I slept better. I didn't panic when things went wrong. I stopped overreacting. I smiled more not to look happy, but because I truly was. I didn't have to wait for life to behave, I just had to take care of my own space, my own emotions, my own energy. And that responsibility felt like peace, not pressure. If you are still waiting for someone to save you, they're not coming. But don't feel sad, because once you stop waiting, you realize the only person who can truly save you has been with you all along. That person is you, and you are more powerful than you've ever been told. I had searched for happiness my entire life. I thought it would feel like fireworks, dancing, smiling all day, jumping with joy, big moments, big rewards. But I was wrong. After all the struggle, the thinking, the pain, and the silence, I discovered the real secret. And it didn't explode. It didn't shout. It didn't arrive with music playing in the background. It simply appeared one day, quietly, like an old friend. When I stopped running, pretending, and trying to be someone I was not, something surprising happened. Happiness did not appear after I fixed everything in my life. It appeared when I stopped treating myself like I was broken. It came when I finally accepted myself and said, this is who I am. This is where I am. And this is enough for now. I learned that excitement is just a feeling, it comes and goes, but alignment is a way of living. Alignment happens when your thoughts, actions, and values match. It means you don't say yes when your heart says no, you don't chase what isn't meant for you, and you don't try to impress people who don't truly care about you. Alignment feels like peace, and peace feels like home, because it is not life that hurts you every day, it is your thoughts about life. For a long time, my mind was full of thoughts saying I wasn't enough, I wasn't loved, I wasn't ahead, I wasn't like others. But I realized I wasn't broken, I was just carrying thoughts that no longer belonged to me. For years, I lived a double life, smiling in public, struggling in private, achieving more but feeling less, working hard and sleeping numb. I was alive on the outside but disconnected on the inside because I wore a mask every day. And it's impossible to feel true happiness when your real self is hidden. The moment I allowed my real self to come out, not the perfect version, not the successful version, just me, healing began. I stopped criticizing, comparing, punishing, rushing, and judging myself. Instead, I started speaking kindly to myself, resting without guilt, loving without fear, failing without shame, and healing without deadlines. I stopped treating myself like a machine and started treating myself like a human. That is where happiness lives. I also learned that you cannot feel joy in the future, you can only feel it now. But most people don't live in the present. They live in yesterday's regrets, tomorrow's fears, and today's endless to-do lists, missing this breath, this smile, this quiet moment. Happiness lives in the present moment, but we are rarely fully here. I noticed 4 invisible habits that block happiness for most people: overthinking and believing every thought, comparing your life to others, living for approval, and always chasing more while ignoring now. No future achievement can fix emptiness. If you can't find peace where you are, you won't find it where you're going. One night, I whispered something to myself that changed everything. Jack, your life is not the problem. Your resistance to life is. That truth hit me deeply. I realized I was waiting for life to give me peace, but life had already given me everything, I just didn't know how to see it. Happiness is not pleasure, thrill, or perfection. It is breathing easily, living honestly, resting without shame, waking up without fear, and accepting yourself without asking permission. Happiness is not a destination, it is a practice, a way of seeing, a way of being. It is not something you chase, it is something you allow. If you've listened this far, hear this clearly: you were not born to live in constant pain, to chase without rest, to impress others, or to carry guilt and self-hate. You were born to live. And living begins when you stop escaping your life and start feeling it, every part of it, even the quiet, boring, and messy moments. Because somewhere beneath the noise and the lies you've been told, happiness is already there. Not in the future. Not somewhere far away. But inside you, right now. This may be the end of my story, but it could be the beginning of yours. So ask yourself one honest question: if happiness was never outside you, what are you still chasing that is stealing your peace? The moment you stop running, you don't lose happiness, you return to it. And maybe today is the day you finally come home. So here's the truth Jack discovered, and you can too: happiness isn't in your next promotion, your next relationship, or your next big achievement. Happiness lives in the moments you stop running, stop pretending, and stop chasing. It lives in the quiet, the stillness, and the acceptance of who you are right now. Ask yourself, if happiness was never outside you, what are you still chasing that steals your peace? The moment you stop running, you don't lose happiness, you return to it. Maybe today is the day you finally come home to yourself.